Sorry?
Did it all go according to plan?
Well, we won the game and stop them from scoring. That was our main plan, but we've got some bumps and bruises on us, so might look easy from the sideline, but I think if you talk to the guys, they can tell you it wasn't. So they put up a brave effort.
No injuries either for us.
Well, again, it'll be during the week. I don't think anyone's that serious, but you know, it'll delay our preparation.
Greg, whether did you play a huge part? What was the nature of the injuries?
It was a cork, a knock to the leg.
Cameron, Tim said a couple of times how in the first game the boys were upset with their defensive performance, and since then you've gone like 220 minutes without conceding a try. Can you just talk us through what the thoughts were after the first game against England and what you've done since?
Yeah, no, we were a little bit embarrassed really by our first performance, defensive performance, to have, what was it, 24 points scored against us. Yeah, that wasn't our standards. You know, we wanted to be a lot better than that, and I remember the meeting after that game, and we sort of sat down and said, well, the only way we're going to win this tournament or have a chance of winning it is on our defence, and we've worked really hard at training with that, and all the boys bought into what we wanted to do. So I believe the last Australian team to go 4 consecutive matches without try against them was 30 years ago, so that's something that we're very proud of. But yeah, that's nice that we've done that up to now, but it's going to need an even bigger effort defensively next week.
But Tim, you must be completely happy with the way the team's gone since that first game.
I must be.
Completely. The way the team has progressed.
Right, yeah. Yeah, we've put more time into our defence than our offence, and I think although we've scored quite a few points the last 2 weeks, but our offence was still, I think, off the pace a little. We're better today again. We're going to need to be better again next week, but I'd rather spent the time in defence, and particularly, as Cam said after that first game, we really needed to nail that. And I think, am I right in saying New Zealand have probably scored more points than anyone, and we've had less scored against us than anyone, so that should be an interesting butting of heads next week.
Obviously you guys were preparing for the game, but the finish, I'm sure you referred about the finish in that last game. Did you see it?
We didn't see it, no. We were a minute from going out to warm up and told England were in front, to be told that he was kicking for goal. So, 20 seconds to go or something, so I haven't seen it, no. Disappointing for England, I'd imagine. Given the first half I watched, I thought they were the better side.
So you're surprised to see the Kiwis got past?
No, I'm not surprised. But what I'm saying is that you'd be disappointed if you're England, I'd imagine, given that they pretty much led the game, didn't they?
Tim, you're pretty settled now with your team, will it be hard to make changes?
Yeah, well, each performance has been getting better, and it's a pretty good team there tonight. But again, we're obviously going to give Bill opportunity to be ready, and there's a couple of bumps and bruises on him tonight that I'm hoping won't force too many problems. But if Billy comes back into the squad, obviously that's going to possibly change the dynamic a bit as well. Obviously, with GI probably pushing back into the centres.
When do you expect to know whether it'll be played?
Well, I would imagine by middle of the week we're going to have a fair idea. Billy's running, so that's a good sign. And I always said if he was running on the weekend, that was, knowing Bill as I do, and Cam would agree, he's going to give himself every chance to be there.
In terms on Fiji, how many games of the year, big test games that need to be playing to really improve as a nation, do you think?
Yeah, good point. It's difficult. We play one in the middle of the year, and then whatever's tournament's on at the end of the year. Sometimes there's no tournament. International football is hard to squeeze in sometimes with state of origin and other things and their commitments to their club. But I think most nations would love to play 2 or 3 tests a year. I don't think that's going to be well. Although, as I understand, I think they're going to play Samoa next year. Don't quote me on this, but if they win that, they'll play in the 4 nations in Australia next year, which would be great for them.
Cameron, the Kiwis usually improve throughout tournaments are never really that great one-off games. Is that something that you guys have been looking at throughout this tournament?
No, we haven't spent a whole lot of time looking at the Kiwis or thinking about them. We've just really worried about ourselves, and because they were in a different pool to us. We needed to play well in our pool to get through. So really, the only vision I seen of the game was probably the first 20 minutes or 30 minutes of tonight. But whether or not they're building or whether they're good at tournaments or not good at tournaments, we know that they're going to be well prepared next week. Steve Kearney's a great coach. I've spent a lot of time with him down in Melbourne, and he'll have the boys well prepared. It was a pretty tough hit out for them tonight, so they'll be ready for this game next week.
Whoever you play next week was always going to be coming off a tough game. Is that, in your experience, an advantage or disadvantage in this situation?
Can be both. Either way, really. It depends on if you come through injury-free, it can be a good advantage. And if you come through winning it, obviously. But with 09, the Four Nations, we played down the seeding as such and played France last. Went on to win. And when we played here 2 years ago, we went the other way. So it really is a matter of whether you come through pretty much injury-free and in what sort of shape you are in for those sorts of games.
Tim, you've got a job there with the forward rotation. Obviously, you get a lot of people to squeeze game time in there. You're happy what you've got out of the three forwards that are coming off the bench today?
Yeah, well, it's interesting with 12 interchange, you seem to make them, and I didn't want to. I don't think we haven't used the 12 yet. In fact, we get to about 8, and I'm really giving guys 5 minutes at the end of the game. So we want more time to our better players. When I say our better players, our starting players, our experienced guys. So but the 12-man interchange allows a rotation, particularly for the younger ones. So, we've experimented a bit, and if someone was injured, like Bird tonight had the cork, so we kept him from going back on. There are a couple of guys that we rested, given that we went in with a few bumps and bruises on us as well. So, but they've all the minutes are adding up, and we've still got 12-man interchange next week. So.
I know the first game you said that there were a few things you thought Andrew Fafita could do better. You happy that he's come along and he's shown more?
Yeah, I've deliberately given Andrew a bit more each week, and he's delivering, getting better and better. So, but he's still young and raw, and you'd be looking to experienced players to hold the fort mostly. And Andrew is that interchange off the bench. I think is what he's doing for us at the moment is ideal. I can't see me starting him at this point, but his career is headed that way if he continues to keep his head down,
Cameron,
Last question, guys.
is there a side of you that's quite happy that it is the Kiwis that are in the final, given what happened in the last one?
Oh no, not at all. It didn't bother me who we played as long as we were there. 2008 was it's a long time ago, and I know we're not going to be using that as motivation. Sure, it'll be in a few of the guys. Sort of back of their minds, but we got a totally different team, different coach. Our motivation is trying to go out and be the best Australian team we can be in this tournament. And a lesson that we have learned in the past in 2008 and in 2010, it doesn't really matter what's happened in the 4 games prior in this campaign. All that matters is what happens next Saturday, and who goes out and plays a better football game and who wants it more.
Thanks, everyone.
David, might do some here in the BBC or whatever.
Yeah, I just got right. So,